How's it going today? Today we're going to pick free stocks for March, actually 4 of them. They're kind of tied in together, so I picked them together. But anyway, we're going to get right into it. Make sure you like and subscribe. I pick stocks in this channel and everything like that. And before I get into this video, I want to make a thing, because they're all in the same sector. But it's basically, I see a big, well, I mean, you heard it on the news. It's a big semiconductor shortage. I mean, so a lot of people are panicking. Oh, they're running out of semiconductors, and which is honestly, if you're an investor, you want to hear things like that. You want to hear there's a shortage of something. The market is saying that we need it, and there's a shortage. There is not enough of it. And that is a good thing, just like real estate. If you own real estate, that's a good thing, unless you want to buy it. But if you're selling it, and there's a real estate shortage or a semiconductor shortage, guess what? That is what we call a high quality problem. I mean, basically, there's not enough of a product. So, I mean, that means there's a lot of demand and a lot of supply that's not getting met. And you've seen, and the other thing is, I see with these video games thing. At first, I was like, well, PlayStation 5, I don't think a whole lot of people could care about it. Maybe they could go out and rush out, because I wasn't that soaked about it. I was like, whatever. But then I was like, you can't find one. And a lot of people think that's a bad thing for consumers. Obviously, if you want one, that's bad. But it's good for Sony. It's good for these semiconductors. It's good for them, because that means it's high demand. So that's a good thing. You kind of want to hear that, you know, if you're selling it, you know, like there's, let's say, it's like the old saying, you know, I mean, what is the biggest variable if you're trying to sell people food? Well, if you control one thing, control their appetite. You know, you want to sell, if you're selling food, you want to sell to hungry people. But anyway, that's going on a thing. We all know that. But basically, that's why I picked basically 4 stocks, or 3 of them. 2 of them are kind of tied together for semiconductors. I mean, these things are selling, and these things, people need them. I mean, everything is used. Semiconductors are in your cars, they're in your phones, they're in your devices. I mean, we all use these. Basically, a semiconductor is basically a computer chip. Think of anything that has a computer chip. I mean, there's different ones, CPUs and GPUs, and I'm not going to get into that. Well, a little bit I will. But anyway, let's dive right into it. And the first one is obviously the big dog, who I used to call the mad dog, is Nvidia. Nvidia is a GPU. They make GPUs. And look at Bitcoin. And they also do crypto money. And look at Bitcoin. It's went up a lot. So that's why I never really heavily invested in Bitcoin, which now I do, because, well, in a way, I do, because I didn't invest in the companies per se. I never, well, let's just say I own Bitcoin, which I'm not saying recommend it. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm not a cryptocurrency expert. I think it's something that you guys can figure on your own. I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to turn into a crypto person, because I don't know crypto. But I know that it's gone up. And that's good for crypto mining. So essentially, Nvidia does that. They do self-driving cars, because they use their GPUs. So basically the car can see where it's going. You know, they use these graphic processing unit. So that's basically what it is a GPU. I mean, think of if you build a computer, and look at gaming. And AMD is the other one that's kind of competitive with them, is AMD. And AMD, you think of the game systems. The gaming systems, like PlayStation, and I think Xbox uses them also. They use AMD. So essentially, as you can see, that's good for both of them. They both use it, and they both, you know, I mean, they're in high demand. I mean, people are playing video games, and I don't think that trend is going anywhere. People say, well, they could grow up and play video games. I see a generation, I mean, they might play different games like Fortnite and stuff, but they're still getting into it. They're still getting into video games. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't play sports anymore. A lot of guys, you know, they don't really have kids or married anymore. So what do? They go on Netflix and video games and chat with their people and their friends and stuff. But anyway, you know, it's still a great market. So I think that is going to grow. I mean, a lot of people that say, I want a PlayStation, but I can't find it. I can't find it. You know, it's like, well, it's people buying it so much. You know, PlayStation didn't really expect it to sell that. I didn't hear. But it just boomed. They were thinking, well, the computer is, you know, the pandemic's kind of tapering on the economy. Maybe it won't sell a whole lot, so we're not going to make a whole lot. But then guess what? Everybody stormed it. It's like, you know, But anyway, that's what it is. Nvidia and AMD. I think I don't own AMD. I own Nvidia. Just because I think Nvidia is more diverse, but AMD is also there too. And I wouldn't hate for you to buy AMD. I think AMD is cheaper in valuation than Nvidia, but Nvidia is a little bit bigger. Obviously, it's actually the biggest chip maker in the US now. It passed up Intel, which is amazing. But anyway, but be warned with these semiconductor companies. There's a shortage now, but maybe in 2 years from now, there might be a surplus. And actually, that could crush Nvidia stock, and that's why it dropped 50% back in 2018 because Bitcoin crashed and everybody was returning. They had inventory problems. So, I mean, these are boom and bust cycles, and that's how kind of semiconductor, they work, so essentially. And now the next one is Skyworks Solution. Skyworks Solution is basically if you're 5G stock. Think about it. With 5G's going solely, and actually I have 5G on my phone now. I can go in certain places, and it's a lot faster. It's a lot faster on videos. It never buffers. It kind of goes in and out in some areas, but that's kind of when it switches back to 4G. But anyway, 5G is... it's a lot better than the 4G. I can use it on my phone because I have the new Samsung. I use Samsung, not Apple. And anyway, how I think about these companies is I sold Apple or a percentage of it because it went up so much, but I still have Apple exposure because these next two companies make semiconductors for the iPhone. So basically you're betting, and actually you can look at the quarters for iPhones sales, and then you look at the quarters for semiconductors like Skyworks Solution and next stock I'm about to get into. You can see they directly correlate. So if they have a good quarter, if Apple has a blowout quarter, Skyworks Solution is going to have a blowout quarter. And that's how it is. And I think people will eventually update their phone because if they have, let's say, I think they're going to be a boom in Apple. Because think about it. A lot of people are like, well, I don't really have a need to buy it, but then you get C5G and all the capabilities, and it's a lot, and it's going to take over probably maybe 4 years. But I think we're just at the bottom of it, and I think it's going to be a big boom. I think it's going to be a boom in Skyworks Solution. And the next stock is, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's written as 24 or IIV4. It's Roman numerals. Roman numerals. But anyway, they're I guess that's 26. But anyway, it's IIVI. It's a semiconductor company that then this thing has been booming ever since they made a contract with the big cell phones and putting cell phones, their semiconductors into their cell phone. This thing is going to boom. This thing is trading. I bought this thing and I was kind of hesitant because it was flat for like years. But over the last couple of years, this thing has just killed it. You could look at the chart. This thing is only a $9 billion company, and it's growing like a weed, and their semiconductors make their phones more efficient. They use it's kind of complicated. They use lasers and stuff, and it's kind of complicated. I took some computer engineering courses online, and I still don't get it. This stuff is kind of complicated especially when you're getting into computers and how to make a computer and all these semiconductors, because some of these semiconductors are tiny. They're so small, they're like, it's incredible, really. Think back, to the 1970s when a computer was as big as a wall, and now they're like computers, like you can't even see them. They're like microscopic. It's incredible what these things are anymore, really. But anyway, them are the free stocks, the 4 stocks that I recommended. I'm not going to go fully onto them, but I don't want to go crazy because hell, I can talk about 30, 40, 50, 80 minutes on these things and you still wouldn't understand it because this stuff's pretty complicated. When it gets into technology, and it's I wish I could show pictures of it. But basically, you can go on their websites and type in investor relationships and they explain it a lot better. But anyway, put these things on your watch list. We see a tech sell-off at the moment, it's selling down. It was down 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever percent it was over last week, which I'm not worried about it. It'll eventually come back because what are they going to go into? Stocks that don't go up. Eventually, or bond yields are so low, they're talking that's going up, but it'll eventually come back down once they realize that why would you sell stocks and then put your money into bonds that don't really yield a whole lot at like 1%. You know, when stocks yield at dividends around 3%. It doesn't even make sense. But anyway, that's all I gotta say for that. And thank you for watching and everything like that. And leave a comment on the ones you own, the ones you're buying, the ones maybe you're not. But anyway, that's my March stock picks, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you.